Hi guys, this is Manny from Manny Styles Barbershop on 13th and Lincoln. You guys already know your neighborhood barber, and we're here to give you guys another podcast. I promised you guys 150 podcasts, and we're on our sixth podcast. It's been a little bit, busy the last couple weeks. I didn't give you guys this podcast sooner because it was my birthday. I had like a little family gathering. They came here and just brought me a couple gifts and, spent a little time with Manny. But yeah, it was Memorial Day weekend. It was crazy busy in the barbershop. It's been a little busy, but I want to be here to give you guys this good podcast. And we want to start with this barber theme, want to keep it with the barber theme. Is it disrespectful to cheat on your barber? Me, I think no. I don't see that as a big deal. Sometimes I'm busy, someone has to go somewhere else. I don't get mad at all. When you're a professional in this business, it shouldn't really bother you if your customer goes somewhere else because that's part of life. You might be busy, he might get into something. We live in a city with there's 200 barbershops locally. So, you have to realize we share a lot of our clients with other barbershops. And it doesn't really bother me. I don't see that as a big deal. But I hear about other people that do get mad. I heard of things like a barber was at a barbershop getting his haircut, and then the barber noticed the next time he came around for a haircut, he was like, I can't cut you. I didn't, I seen you cut your hair with this other barber that I don't like, and I don't want to cut your hair. And those are the type of things that are very unprofessional. This Sunday, I had a kid that comes here every week for a haircut. And I didn't see him for the last 3 weeks. It was a little bit weird, but he came every Sunday, nonstop, every Sunday. And it was a little weird. I was like, yeah, maybe he's, out on vacation. But I did kind of I was thinking about him. Don't get it wrong. When you see someone every week for a year, and all of a sudden you don't see him on Sundays no more, you're like, but he's a student, he's always busy. So I was like, maybe he's busy. But when he came, his braids were cut off. And that's something he never wanted to do. I was like, what happened? You cut your hair? And he was like, yeah, my mom made me cut my hair for prom. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. I'm not even, I'm not mad at you for doing that, if that's what your mom wanted you to do. But, I could have did that for you. He was like, yeah, but she was like, she wanted to go to my relative's barbershop and I didn't want to go, Manny. I swear I didn't want to go. And I was like, it's cool. You don't have to explain yourself. You know what I mean? But, yeah, you can see the face in his, he did not want to show me his hair. But, yeah, I sat him in the chair. I gave him the same haircut that we always give, because all he gets is a taper, and he don't touch none of his hair on top. That's why I was kind of like, damn, his braids are cut, but those are things that happened. I think people, when they're starting, they don't know how to deal with those things. When you're a new barber, you finally got some clients. And you're like, dude, I got these clients. I finally worked so hard to have them. And then all of a sudden you see them go somewhere else. That can bother you in your start. It can kind of put you in a thing where, dude, I've seen people get really angry because, I cut their client in the same barbershop. We worked in the same barbershop. One day they weren't there. The guy came. He sat in my chair. I cut his hair and forget it. After that, he found out he didn't want to speak to me, and those are the things that happens when people are unprofessional. You know what I mean? You got to stay away from things like that. If you're a starting barber, please don't let that bother you. Clients might go to other barbershops here and there. You have to stay focused. You lose one, you get three. God will bless you with three. It might take a couple months to get three more clients, but this is a business that it takes a while to grow. Like, let's say, for instance, Advanced Auto. How much money does Advanced Auto have in merchandise in the back? And how long does it take for them to sell that? And for instance, when they first opened their business, they were there, you don't know how much you're going to sell. You don't know how much. This is something that's going to give you back income in the next 5 years when you open something like this. It's an investment that you can't expect to get money right away. And it's like every business. But most people, like I had a barber here that started new. Within like the first third week, he got a little comfortable with me, and he was like, Manny, do you know what type of car you're going to help me buy? And I'm like, dude, I didn't want to really say anything negative, but I just thinking like, wow, it's crazy how people think nowadays. The way I grew up, my mom, they raised me so humble. You can't expect to have anything materialistic, expensive when you're just starting a career that you haven't really put any interest in. You have no Google, nothing on Facebook, nothing on Instagram that you're saying that you're a barber. I sat down with him and told him, hey, why don't you do a Facebook page? And he's so scared, because he's starting and no one really seen him as a barber his whole life. And now he wants to be a barber, but he doesn't want to break the ice. And that's what you got to do. You got to get out your comfort zone. And things that a lot of people don't want to do, and I deal with that a lot. There's times I meet a customer for the first time and I may be a little uncomfortable with this person. He might be way off my whole rhythm of life. And that within the first 5-10 minutes, I figure my way into this haircut and I get comfortable. It's just something I've been doing for so many years. But yeah, it can be a little bit first time cutting this person. You really don't know how he's going to act, but yeah, I just want to help people that are starting to cut hair. The issues that I see every day are people not putting a lot of interest in wanting to build a career. So it takes a lot of time, and don't be scared to lose a client. He might go to another barber. He might cheat on you. Don't be scared. That's all part of business. We'll lose, we'll gain. It's part of things that happen. And I remember when I first started, losing barbers here and there. I mean, losing clients here and there. Right now, I have a good retention, which means most of my new customers that walk in my barbershop, 80% seem to keep coming back for a haircut. So when you have an 80%, 70% retention, you're like, wow, you finally did something good. It took like so many, you guys don't know how many years it took to get here. I went through years with not making a lot of money, without being able to make a lot of money with my career. And I still stuck with it. Everyone was driving a nice car, everyone had beautiful things, and I sat there and stuck with my career. You have to sit on your corner and take what's coming. It's hard. You see a lot of people that are going to be probably coming up faster, with different jobs, different careers, and you're going to be stuck behind. But don't let that discourage you. Stay professional. Do everything you have to do to get where you have to be. Build your clientele from scratch. Start it off the bottom. Don't be scared to have nothing at first. Take it from me. I had nothing when I started. Nothing. No clients. I mean, I had a couple, but it wasn't nothing to brag about. I went to a barbershop to start cutting hair at where Edsel and Davey, Macho, Negro, all these guys had a lot of clients. And I'm sitting there rookied out, brand new, scared, didn't have a lot, and I stuck with it, and I'm so happy I stuck with it to this day. Now, I have a beautiful barbershop. I understand I'm just starting in my business, but I feel good. I'm getting where I have to go. It takes so much to be a barber. Sometimes we have to speak to our clients. We have to really sometimes ask them, what do you want? What do you, how do you feel? What do you want me to do? Do you like this haircut? Do you want me to do a different style today? You got to kind of make it, Give them something good. You got to stay positive every time they come. They can feel whatever you're going through, whatever problems you have. You have to leave it alone when you get to the barbershop, because that will affect you. Um, should barbers be therapists too? No. Therapist is something that is a very professional job. We have to accommodate to our professionalism, where yes, we can give you advice, we can be friends with you, we can do whatever you want, but as far as taking that actual name as a therapist, that's a big name. We have to leave that for them. Therapists are therapists. We are barbers. But don't get it wrong. I have barbers that tell me, look, I broke up with my girlfriend. It's been 12 years I was dating her. She broke my window. I was so mad. I'd be like, wow, I have to tell this guy, I have to try to accommodate to what's going on. Um, different things. He tells me, a different guy told me, look, man, after all these years, my girl cheated on me. I caught her with another guy. You know, you have to listen to these different stories. So yeah, you might feel like a therapist at times. You have to give them advice. These are people that come on a weekly basis. So you have to give these people advice, and wish them the best. These people come every week, and some of my clients come every week. Some of them come every 2 weeks. Some clients come every month. Some of them I really don't see them throughout the winter because they work outside. But you have to accommodate to what your barber likes and what he wants and what he wants to speak about. I try to keep it short and professional. When it comes to a haircut, you want to be as best as you can with your client, but at the same time, you got to remember you got to be professional at what you do. So you have to sometimes switch conversations a little bit if it gets into like a politic thing or something too deep, where when you're actually studying barbershop, they tell you that you can't really get too deep into things that might bother other people that are waiting for a haircut. You have to remember there's probably people waiting. I have the type of barbershop where it's walk-ins, 70% walk-ins, 30% appointments. So I have people walking in all the time. I don't want to disrespect someone with a religion or some type of politician news or something out of control. Everyone has their own beliefs. You know, they might get angry. They might hear something that might get you angry. So yeah, you got to be careful with being a therapist as a barber, because it might affect you if you get too deep, trying to give too much advice or trying to get, pretty much you have to get comfortable with your customer first. It takes years. I have customers that have been with me 20 years. The other day, my boy Chino, um, I was so happy he was here getting a haircut, and there was a couple clients, and I was like, man, he's been my customer since I was at the first barbershop I ever started in Bayview, the last barbershop. And it felt so good just talking about that in front of the other barbers that were here. Maybe they've been with me 2 3 years, but it felt really good to actually be able to brag about, you know, my customer being with me 20 years. But yeah, with him, it's a little deeper. It becomes 20 years. That's like family now. He comes for my birthdays. He when he comes gets a haircut, he don't just come get a haircut. He comes like every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks maybe. But he used to come every week, a while ago. But when he comes every 2 to 3 weeks, uh, after his haircut, he'll stay for half an hour, 45 minutes. If we're watching a game, he'll finish watching a game. You know, these people become some type of family sometimes, but it all depends on how much time they've been in your life. You can't expect a customer that's been in your life for a year to be, a part of things that a barber that has been with you, a customer that's been with you 20 years can do. It's a little bit different, but yes, you can't be try to be a therapist. You got to keep that a little bit professional. Remember, we're barbers. We're not therapists. Should barbers be friends with their clients? Yes and no. I say that because you have to keep it professional. You can't say, hey, look, you're my best friend. I know you since we were kids. I'm going to skip you in front of everybody that been waiting for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, a half an hour. Skip you in front of these people because you're my boy. I can't do that. And it's hard because some people that come around I haven't seen for years will come around and think, oh, yeah, he'll get me in right away. And I have to tell them, like, look, I'm so sorry. These people been waiting. My barbershop, I got to keep my name, on the right. This guy might be new, but I don't want him leaving with a bad experience out of Manny Styles Barbershop. You know what I mean? It doesn't roll that way. One client that goes angry, leaves angry, can affect you, and you don't want that. You want to try to limit yourself from being unprofessional. I had years of practicing, years of being with people that were professional barbers. I was cutting hair with people that were, professionals. They went to school. They took this serious, and they taught me everything they knew. You know what I mean? And I felt so happy and good to be a part of this beautiful thing. I'm a barber in my community. I learned how to cut hair, and I was a part of uh, a nice amount. I was friends with a nice amount of barbers that were really professional. And that gives me something to look up to every day. I walk around with my guard up, with my face up, because I know I was with the best barbers in Milwaukee. That's something that when I go to sleep every night, I'm thinking, wow, I made it, bro. I got my own barbershop. I stay here, in my own barbershop. I live right here. I live upstairs from my shop. It's like the beautifulest thing that could ever happen. It took so long for me to get here. You guys don't know how many things I went through to be where I'm at. And I will explain more of it in my other podcast. It took forever to finally get where I wanted to get. I had to learn how to open my own barbershop. I had to hear, you know, things from my mentors, people that helped me, that teach me, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you open up a place. This is how you do it. You got to have an open sign. You got to have this. You got to make it look professional. It took years and years and years and years of learning what I have now. It wasn't something that, oh, I just learned it. I remember when I first went to Tassos, uh, my old boss used to try to teach me a lot. At the time, he was like a teacher at AMTC, and he was always trying to teach me everything. You know, I felt good. I knew a lot already though, but he wanted to. He seemed like he taught me everything. Because he was a teacher at one point at AMTC. He felt like, oh, Manny is my student. But when I got there, I already had worked for 7 different barbershops. I knew everything that I needed to know as a barber, but going there helped me a lot, helped me grow. I learned a lot more. People think you don't learn, you learn every day, you learn more every day. I got there and I started getting more flexible with things that I didn't used to do, more stylist uh, techniques. I used to when I first started, I used to stay away from that. I didn't want to mix stylist with barbershop. I wanted just to be straight barbershop. And when I decided to mix my stylist stuff with my barbershop, you guys got to remember, my mom was a stylist. She wasn't a barber. So I grew up with a stylist, hearing stylist ways and stylist styles. So being a barber and a stylist, kind of mixing it in, it helped me grow so much. Scissors, haircuts with scissors, different types of haircuts that you know we have different ethnicities that come in with different hairstyles. People have long hair, some people have short hair. um, you have to make sure that it doesn't overlap when it has the fade. You got to make sure that when you comb it, it don't overlap, because if it overlaps, it looks like a bow. And the only way you're gonna do that, it's either clipper over comb. You grab it all down, you grab the clipper and you, or you grab your scissors, you comb it down, and you, and then you, but you gotta keep going till you don't see no hair hanging on both sides. Make it even. This one guy told me the other day, he goes, dude, why did you pick barbershop as your job? And I go, what do you do for a living? And he goes, oh, I work with the ambulance, you know? And I go like, you driving the ambulance all day long? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, see, I cut hair and I see your job hard. Your job should be super hard. You're chasing the trouble. Woo, 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 woo. Everywhere you guys are going, there's people dead. There's people sick. There's people, it could be a crazy job. And you're telling me that he's, but the reason he said that was because he was like, look, everyone has these crazy hairstyles that you got to make them perfect. One side can't be different than the other side. Both sides got to look accommodating to perfect. And yeah, it can get a little, it could get a little difficult, but I studied haircuts so much. And remember, I've been doing this since I was a kid. I perfected my craft to a way where I'm not going to mess up haircuts. But someone that ain't used to doing this would probably think that way. Someone that ain't used to doing this would think, oh, that's got to be horrible doing it. I make it look so easy, but for someone that's starting, it can be horrible to do. You know what I mean? But yeah, he told me, why didn't you pick a different job? Why would you dedicate yourself to dealing with people and getting the haircuts perfect? And I say, why did you choose to drive an ambulance all day long? You know what I mean? And he goes, yeah, I love my job. And I say, I love my job too. He goes, yeah, my grandma worked in the ambulance business, and he loved, I guess, his dad and his grandma, and they all worked in the ambulance business. So he grew up. It was pretty easy for him to, just fall right into that. It kind of happened to me that way. I kind of fell right into that. I had my mom. I remember I told you guys that my mom was a barber, a stylist at one point. She started working at Tasso's hair studio, and she worked there a couple weeks, I think it was. And then I was a little baby. I got sick. No one was there to watch me. Remember, my mom was a single mom. She raised me all on her own. My dad never once helped my mom with anything when I was a baby. So when my mom realized I got sick, and the people that were watching me weren't watching me right, she was like, nope, I can't do this. I can't cut hair no more. I got to, attend to my son. I got to find something that I can do where I can be with him all the time. So she told my aunt, which is like her twin. They look identical, exactly alike. And I also see her as a big mother figure too. She taught me a lot of things about cutting hair also. She worked at Tasso's hair studio, the shop I worked at. I was there 13 years. She was there, I could say, 25 years. 30 years, I could say she was there. I remember I was probably 5 years old the first time my mom took me to Tasso's so that my aunt can watch me, My mom had like a doctor appointment, and my aunt watched me for a couple minutes. It was great. It was a beautiful thing. Just growing up, being able to cut hair at the shop that I grew up seeing family members cut hair at helped me so much. Like, a lot of people probably were like, damn, that's an old-fashioned place. You're there for 13 years. How can you do that? But the love that I had for the place, I grew up seeing this place. I made my clients, and then when I was there, I grew. I made so many clients. I didn't just want to leave my clients behind. It took so long to have what I have because I kind of wanted to do it right, and I did not. I was in a position where I didn't want to leave where I was at, but I also had to think about myself, And it took so long for me to actually take that decision and say, you know what, I'm going to open my own barbershop. But yeah, don't forget, it's very important to be professional. It's important to be licensed. It's important to have everything and all your permits on point. I remember when I first opened my barbershop, I had the city come in here and they inspected everything in my barbershop. It was not easy to open my barbershop. I remember we had we had like a violation where there was a cord hanging and something was showing. And just because of that, they said you can't operate. I remember we had to like close it down for like a week. But we just opened. We weren't really operating yet. We were just working inside here. And as soon as you open a barbershop, the city gets a confirmation that you're opening up a barbershop. They right away send someone to go check out your place. And when they showed up here and knocked on the door, it was a guy with a folder. He was like, "Yeah, I'm just here to inspect the building. I have you guys are opening a new business. I just want to inspect to make sure you guys are ready to open up, so I can get my occupancy permit and get everything up to date." And they had to come in here and they inspected. They went to the basement. They seen there was like wood and stuff I had to replace. Forget it. I had to spend a couple $100 trying to get everything to what it had to be. They gave me another appointment. They said, we'll come back so that if everything is good, when we come back, we'll let you open and you can operate. But we have to make sure everything's up to date, that everything's done. And it took a while. It was something that it wasn't easy. I had to get the floor replaced. It took a couple $100 for that. I had to pay people. I had to get 4 beams to hold the floor so that the capacity level of the people that come in, it wouldn't hold, so it wouldn't pass inspection. So I had to get beams to hold the floor so that it would pass inspection. It actually took a while. It took about a month or two to get everything up to date here. So it's very important for you to be licensed, be professional, guys. Don't forget, this is something that you are working so hard to have. You don't want to be, having your stuff the wrong way. You want to be able to, if you give a job to someone to cut hair, they have to be able to come in and feel comfortable here and know that their job's not going to get taken. Everything is perfect. There's no holes on the walls. There's no holes on the floor. The bathroom accommodates the people. There's a beautiful view. Everything is up to date. It has to be perfect. Don't ever have it too sloppy. Don't have too many things in there because it might get it off. But yeah, guys, thank you guys for being with Manny Styles. This felt so good coming back and giving you guys another podcast. I'm ready for my 7th podcast next. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being so patient with me. I know it gets a little hard. I'm just starting. I'm learning. I also have a business I run. I have a lot of things in my life that I do. But thank you guys. And don't forget, we always have to put God in front of everything. God is with us. And with God, there's nothing we can't do. So God bless you guys. And don't forget to stop at Manny Styles Barbershop and get your haircut. Icy fade. Manny Styles. And enjoy this podcast. We'll be back with more stuff. Thank you.